Imagine being this close to wild ducklings and ducks. The pukikos around here, they won't come with an inch because they know I'll shoot the bastards. But she knows. Animals know. She knows that duck's off the menu for old Clay these days. Anyway, brothers and the occasional sister, good morning. It's Labour weekend, Labour Day, Monday, and traditionally it rains on Labour Day. It's also a time, I think, when people put their, is it tomatoes in on Labour Day? Is that the right vegetable you stick in the ground? Anyway, there she is, the old Toyota Land Cruiser. There's a bit of a story there. It's a 4.2 naturally aspirated diesel with the FRP top, that's the fiberglass top, and she's been sitting for a long time. Still goes, needs a wee bit of work, needs a filter for the transmission, that's not a biggie, needs a couple of batteries, that's not a biggie, needs a new lot of windows in the back, that's not a biggie, it needs a few things, but it will go, and that's possibly going to be the Land Cruiser I get, not a V8, just because of the cost of things. Yesterday's video, I did two videos yesterday, one asking you to vote for Swalk Cafe, and thank you Jamie Ukulele, thank you buddy. Jamie actually came out here once and sang a song, great voice, and he voted for Chloe. Anyway, there's the Toyota Land Cruiser, the second one that I've ever owned. The first one was an LX 1986, and when I first came back from Europe from playing music over there, I'd always dreamed of having a Land Cruiser, so I bought one. That was a 13BT, great truck. You guys all know the 13BT engine. It's probably one of the better Toyota engines that come out as far as diesels go. And I love that truck. It was a white one with the winch on the front, the same winch that's on that one there, because I ended up seeing this one and falling in love with that. It was in the North Island, and it was at the time it was $9,000. And I made good money when I played music in Europe, so it was nothing for me to buy a second truck. And the other one, the LX that I had, I used to, I was going to keep two trucks. I thought it'd be good for parts, and the other one was going fine. I had a couple of issues, I think, something with might need a filter in the gearbox as well, cleaned out, but it was an automatic. They're both automatics. And I was hunting with this really cool bloke, Kev, and we go hunting together, and we used to stay up in Kenapuru in this caravan here, which now is sitting as a place for storing stuff. We towed this thing behind it. This is the old classic, and it's been sitting here for like 15 years now, or no, 10 years, it might be 15 years. As you can see, it needs a good scrape and clean, but it's actually a storage for all the old stuff that the kids, you know, when you've got children, they leave all their shit behind. Well, we just hoof it into the caravan, so it's a storage spot. And the pod on top is a pod that I made that I used to sleep in, and that would go on top of the Toyota Hilux. Anyway, getting back to the story, Kev was a good bastard, and he was stronger than me, and more often than not we'd catch a pig and he'd be the one carrying it out. But geez, we had some great fun. We had a lot of fun, and eventually it came down to sort of his family situation, and his wife saying, look, you know, you're going away with Clay all the time, it's just too much time hunting and not enough time being a family man, I guess. And that would be true. We spent a lot of time just hunting together. And I said, mate, you know, you've got to look after your family. We should really probably stop the hunting, and you should carry on being a family man. And that's exactly what he did. But not without me giving him that LX Land Cruiser. TLC 1234 was the license plate. I can still remember it. TLC 1234, Tender Loving Care 1234. That was just a license plate by chance. So I gifted him the truck, which was a pretty big gift to give somebody, because then it was worth about 11 grand, and today that same truck, if you took that same truck, if I kept it, it'd be worth 20 grand today, or done up 30 grand, because they clicked this. But he was a good mate, so I gave it to him and just kept that one there over there. And eventually that one there, so many bits fell off it, and it was just not practical for taking the boys pig hunting. And so what I did was I took those trays you get out of it. Oh, come on, open it. Those trays you can open, that you get out of a fridge. And I made it like that there, so that the dogs wouldn't jump on the back. There's a wasp nest up there. But we ended up, it just didn't work out. Anyway, I'm going to resurrect this thing. I'm not saying I'm not going to get the V8 Toyota Land Cruiser, because that's a dream. But look, there's the original winch that was on the LX that I gave to Kev. I took it off and I put it on this, and it still works well. Now, Jamie, when I bought it, Jamie was a really good car painter. local guy. So it was about 15 years ago. When I bought it, it needed some work done on it, and Jamie painted it. And just the other day, I took his son, Brooklyn, who's 13, I took him out hunting, and said, mate, this here needs to be restored. You know, the old lacquer's come off, as you can see. Gave us 15 years. And he said, well, after Christmas I might look at it, so I might get the old girl done up. That's the plan anyway. So, brothers, that's where I am with my dream, the Toyota Land Cruiser. Pulling out of me local boozer in me Toyota Land Cruiser. She's a bloody doozer, gets me where I need to go. Well, she may be well outdated and naturally aspirated, but she never leaves me frustrated. And man, she sure can tow. I've written a few songs about Toyota Land Cruisers. Spitting everywhere. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink of my cup of tea. So, one of you said something on the last thread that just resonated with me so much. The last thread was electrical utes. Will they cut it? One bloke just said, no, they won't. But one guy said that he's got a V8 and that his dad sort of puts him down, and his dad watches TV all the time and says you should go electric as well. And I said, mate, your dad and my dad will both get on like a house on fire, or at least we'll both get on like an electrical vehicle on fire, because my dad's exactly the same. And I think the generation of our parents, that particularly the ones that can't get around up that mobile anymore and sit and watch TV all day, they get brainwashed by mainstream media. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to them, but I just think it's the reality. They're not looking at all the other channels that us younger people are looking at. We're looking at all the other things that go on, and we're sort of trying to look at the big picture. Now for me, I've always tried to do right by my dad, and I think a lot of sons do. You always want your dad's acceptance and love and his okay on everything, but you also reach a point where you become your own man and you go, well, yes, Dad, but no, sorry. And in the case of the vaccine, I was definitely that. My father was absolutely pro getting the vaccine, and it was the best thing. And at one stage, my parents didn't even want people going around to the house, and that included even me. With it, we weren't vaccinated, or at least masked up, which I wasn't going to buy into any of that because I thought it was all a load of bullshit. And looking back now, I reckon it was all a load of bullshit. So I thought, as far as an EV goes, well, I'll go and talk to Dad about it, because he is a clever man. He's an engineer. I mean, he built the flat bottom floozy houseboat, and he's done a lot of things. And I respect my father. And my stepmother started talking about how they're now using earth moving equipment that are now EVs, and the buses, they've got 17 buses here in Nelson that are EVs, and it's the way the whole world's going. And maybe the whole world is going that way, but for my thinking and what a lot of your comments, and I really do appreciate the comments a lot of you guys wrote, the technology is just not there. There's so many aspects about it which still raise concerns. One of you wrote that a friend of yours works in the fire brigade, and they've been instructed if they come across an accident where there's been involved like a electrical vehicle, is it the, I don't know which one it was, he said, because there's quite a few of them, but that they can't use the jaws of life on it because the fire brigade, because for fear of electricity running through the car and electrocuting them. So that's a good point, isn't it? And also, what about for hunting in the forestry, which I do? Would you actually get a permit to go in the forestry because of the fire risk that they could cause? Another person asked, what about going through water? Can they go through water? Can you cross a river? Being electrical, they'd have to be completely sealed in, wouldn't it? John Rutter, you wrote, why couldn't they use it so it moves forward with the alternator charging as it goes? Well, the physics of that don't work, John. That doesn't... but what I also did comment on that is they can use the braking power and transfer that back to the battery. But, of course, you can't get something from nothing. Physics wouldn't allow it. So that wouldn't work, with all due respect, John. By the way, John, I do enjoy a lot of your posts around nutrition. I think you've got some really good information there, mate, and you're onto it. What else was said in the comment section? There was a lot of comments. It's just not proven enough. It's too early in the piece. What happens in 10 years with the battery in the vehicle? There's just too many ifs and buts. And I'm 59, I'm going to be 60. I've always wanted a V8 Land Cruiser. Still can't actually afford it, but that's irrelevant. I like to manifest these things and keep thinking about them, and something will happen. I don't necessarily need to have a brand new one, and in fact there's advantages to getting an older one, because the DPF is a pain in the ass, and the DPF cost to run. You've got to actually, I don't know quite how it works, and if somebody knows better than me, but I believe you've got to have a period where you burn off the carbon every 300 or 400 kilometres, or you can set it. That costs, I'm not sure if the insurance is still covered if you bypass it. I don't know how that works. I know to get it uninstalled is $1,250 GST, but then to get that registered is about another $2,000 or something. Then you've got the EGR valve, which is on all common rail engines. It's on my ute, so you've got that as well to sludge and slow things down and clog up your manifold. So the older ones without the DPF are very, very attractive, but most of the older ones, of course, have got high Ks, but they really just run in. Now that old Land Cruiser there doesn't have much high Ks on at all, because it's been sitting a lot of life. And even my Toyota Land Cruiser, Toyota Hilux, sorry, there's only got 150,000. I've had that for 10 years since new. 150,000 is not much, because I only use it for the bush. I don't use it for driving around town much, occasionally, but not much. I've got another wee car that's actually in the garage right now that someone bought me. And I've got a Nissan boy racer car. It's a Fair Lady, which Philip bought me and paid for when I was really sick a few years ago. It's sort of on the never loan, but that's getting a steering rack fixing right now, or trying to find a steering rack parts, man. So what's happening with Toyota V8 is that this is the last year they're coming out in New Zealand. They still will be coming out in Australia. Now that says something, doesn't it? But they won't be coming out in New Zealand, so this is the last year to get a new one. Do I want a new one, or do I want a second-hand one with low Ks? Well, I did have a chance to buy a second-hand one, but it was still bloody expensive. It was only like 10 grand cheaper than a new one. That's the thing about them, is that they don't lose a lot of value. Will they lose value as the price of diesel becomes more and more, and the government puts more taxes on it to make us push us? We're going to be pushed into it, aren't we, really? The idea of biofuel really appeals to me. I've got a bit of land. Could I create it myself? Could I make it myself? Probably could. Mad Kiwi suggested biofuel. A few of you said hemp oil. I've got a paddock out there. Maybe I could go completely like to the oil companies and go make my own fuel, possibly. But how much would that really cost? And what is the cost of it? I don't know. I've never looked into it. But there's options. I could never ever see myself driving an electrical ute, to be honest. I mean, there's some things you get forced into. Like I was forced into the diet I'm in now, otherwise I was going to die. I could never see myself eating the tuckerite these days, and that's a biggie. But I think I'd die before I get forced into an electric vehicle. Well, nothing wrong with electric vehicles. There'd be nothing wrong with a Leaf for running around town, or a cheap electric car for just doing your shopping. Great. But a ute for going off-road and crawling up riverbeds and going up forestry and taking the boys hunting, nah, not going to happen. Not going to happen, is it? I better be careful what I say here, because in 10 years' time I might be just doing that, driving around in one. Who knows what way the world goes. There were some really interesting comments in the comment section about EVs. Brothers, thanks for checking on me and on that particular topic. It's interesting, and I'm going to bring it up again. I was going to go hunting. I haven't gone hunting this weekend. It's cool enough to this morning. It's the first weekend I haven't gone hunting. I just haven't had the energy because I've been working too much, and the body's been going, nah, you're going to rest. Although I might sneak out for an afternoon hunt today, because it's the last day of the forestry being open. It's the last day today, and that's it. She's over for the year. And all our hunting will be native bush and Department of Conservation land, which is fine by me, but it'll be the last of forestry. So we might sneak out with the dogs in the afternoon. If I do, I'll do a wee bro check video tonight too, and just smash it out. Anyway, it's a late morning start. Can drink my tea and get stuck into the day. Check on a brother. Go steady, and I'll see you next Bro Check Club video. And thank you. See you later.